Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rich Carlson, the voice man, along with Alex Nagel, the color man, to bring you more of the 2012 Minnesota State High School Girls Basketball Tournament. We've already had 2 games this morning. Hopkins has defeated Lakeville North, and Eastview has defeated St. Michael Albertville. In our 3rd game of the day here in 4A basketball, it will be the Duluth East Greyhounds out of Duluth, Minnesota against the Edina Hornets of Edina, Minnesota. Edina is in the Lake Conference, and interesting, Alex, Duluth East is not in a conference. And part of that may be because they are one of the few 4A schools in the northern part of the state. In fact, when they played to get into the state tournament, they actually had to come down and play Andover and Cambridge Isanti.
Yeah, well, and don't forget, Rich, as you pointed out earlier when we were talking, these 2 teams met earlier in the season, and Edina was able to come away with a 45-35 victory. So that said, you could almost conclude that we may be in for another good one here this afternoon.
I think so. I really do. The only thing I would say in Edina's favor is they're in a very tough conference where they were 4-4 this season. They had to play the likes of Eden Prairie, Wayzata, Minnetonka, and Hopkins, and that always stands you in good stead when you play good competition.
Yeah, exactly, and don't forget this same Edina squad knocked off last year's runner-ups, Eden Prairie, in the section final. So that was a clash of 2 very, very good teams meeting for just to get a chance to play here on this stage, Rich.
Also, this Edina team, Alex, is comprised of some very veteran players.
Yes, I just noticed that. I was going over that. This is a very senior-laden squad, Rich, with a lot of experience.
Definitely 3 seniors and 2 juniors are starting for them. And let's go over the starting lineup. First of all, for the Edina Hornets, and they'll be the home team, wearing their green uniforms with the white numbers, letters, and trim. They will start with Katie Beth Bewin, the senior guard, Madeline Rodriguez, the junior guard, MC McCrory, the junior guard, Lindsey Johnson, the post player, who's a senior, and Julie Good, who's the wing, and she's also a senior.
And don't forget, this Edina squad does definitely have the goods. Julia, one of the starting players on this team, and also Shannon Good, the sophomore coming off the bench for the Hornets.
Absolutely. Let's get to the starting lineup now for the Greyhounds from Duluth East. Starting at guard, a senior, number 1, Shamika Hopkins.
14 points per game, Rich. She's the leading scorer for this team.
She definitely is. She's the leader in many ways.
They're going to be relying on her heavily today.
Starting at forward, it'll be a senior, number 13, Jamie Whitlinger. She's averaging 6 points a game. Also starting at forward, a senior, number 21, Nikki Rosseth. Starting at a guard for the Greyhounds will be a senior, number 25, Alex Freeman. And starting at center for Duluth East will be a junior, number 42, Elena Lusheen. The head coach of the Duluth East Greyhounds in his 38th season, count them, 38th season, is Bill Kunze. Congratulations to Bill.
That's really amazing.
It really is. His counterpart with Edina in his 4th season with the Hornets is Matt Nilsson, and his father used to coach both in high school and collegiately. So he comes from a long line of basketball people.
You know, Rich, I wonder, you pointed out here just a bit ago how Duluth East has to travel down here to the metro area for several other games to play schools of comparable size. Yeah, I wonder in a very uncanny kind of way if that might actually benefit Duluth East, because, this is, for them, this is almost just like another trip down to the Twin Cities to play a game. And they've been in the setting before. Granted, the stage is a little different, obviously, but they're doing basically what they've done all year, and I'm wondering if that might help them in this particular contest.
Well, point well taken there, Alex, because they beat Stillwater 57-42. They beat Cretin-Durham Hall by a score of 50-31. They beat Forest Lake 68-59. So they definitely have played some metro area teams and done very well. They did not do very well against Wayzata. Wayzata took them real good earlier in the season. And as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, they did play Edina once earlier this season, and they kept the game close. And finally, Edina hung on to win 45-35.
You talk about this Edina squad. Of course, so much is said about Katie Beth Bewin, and of course she's one of the star players on this team, obviously. But one player that I think that you want to keep your eye on today might be number 23, MC McGrory. She had a big game in their section final win against Eden Prairie here this last week, Friday night. She played a pivotal role in that game for the Hornets, and she also had a big game last year in the sections against Bloomington Jefferson. So she's a player that can stand out as well.
I've seen MC McCrory play because I do the Prior Lake High School games.
Okay.
And she came to Prior Lake and put on a show. I want to tell you, she is the ultimate point guard, and she is the spark that really gets these Hornets going. So watch for number 23, MC McQuarrie. Alex, she is only a junior.
Yeah.
She's already averaging over 15 points a game.
Wow.
And as you mentioned earlier, they did beat Eden Prairie in the section final, so that left them as the number 2 ranked team in the state of Minnesota, and the number 2 team here in the seedings in the state tournament. Here we go. The tip goes over to Rodriguez. Here we go. The ball is back to Bewin. Man-to-man defense employed by the Greyhounds. A long shot from the side. No good by Rodriguez. It's going to be out of bounds, and it's going to be Edina's ball. Bewin, number 10. McCrory, number 23. The standouts for Edina. Shot by number 25, Johnson, no good. It bounces around underneath to McCrory. The ball is kicked, and it's going to be Duluth East ball in the backcourt. Edina quickly goes into the full court press. Ball comes into Hopkins. Hopkins gets across the timeline. She helps set up the offense for the Greyhounds. They're moving right to left on your computer screen here in the first half. We're at the Target Center in downtown Minneapolis. Rich Carlson, the voice man. Alex Vogel, the color man. Ball is stolen by Johnson. Quickly into the front court is McCrory. All the way into the basket, up and off rim. McCrory with her own board. Over to Bewin, up, no good. Rebounded this time by Freeman, and there's a fight underneath. And they're going to call a jump ball as Freeman was double teamed on the boards.
Freeman, the 5'8 senior for the Greyhounds. Not afraid at all to battle down low, Rich.
It's state tournament time, and as we know, in this very first game of the tournament, the loser goes home for the season. So you have no tomorrow if you lose the opening game. And Duluth East is in the front court now. No score yet. We're a minute and a half into the first half. Hopkins goes up and scores, and just when we say it's scoreless, Hopkins goes up and scores the first 2.
Great drive by Shamika Hopkins on that one.
Julia Good lets the deflected ball go out of bounds, so it will stay Edina ball. How exciting to be here for the state tournament, Alex. We are just thrilled to be bringing these games to you.
It's a lot of fun.
Up for the shot goes Johnson, rebounded off of Edina and out of bounds. Oh my. And they're going to give the ball back to Edina. It sure looked like the Hornets tipped that one out, but the green team will have it. Under the basket goes Bewin, and as she goes up for the left baseline layup, she is fouled. Her shot will not go down. but she is fouled by number 21, Rosseth.
Bewan with a lot of quickness on that move, drove along the baseline nicely and was able to draw the foul.
Foul is on Nikki Rosseth. 2 shots coming here for Bewan. First shot is in. As we said, Bewan is averaging 17.6 points per game. One of the leaders on this Hornet team. She is the team leader in scoring. She makes both free throws to tie the score at 2. The only thing I'm sorry about is that these games aren't taking place outdoors where the temperature is about 68 degrees.
Yeah.
Be nice to have some outdoor basketball. On the loose ball turnover, the Hornets bring it into the front court. They have a chance to take the lead now. Bewan with a nice pass underneath to McCrory. It's good.
Just great recognition there by Bewan, Rich. Found McGrory open, and she was able to knock it down.
MC McGrory. M-C-G-R-O-R-Y. McGrory. And we have a 4-2 lead for the Edina Hornets. The Greyhounds passing it around well. Shot by Whitlinger, no good. Rebounded by Bewan. She also averages 5 rebounds a game, so she is very busy for the Hornets.
Oh.
Pass down low. Shot is blocked. No foul. And here come the Greyhounds back into the front court. Shamika Hopkins, the senior guard, running the offense. Shot down low, no good. A nice rebound there, again by McGrory. She is so active on the court,
yeah, she sure
for
is,
the Edina Hornets.
Certainly early on anyway.
McGrory loses the handle but gets it off to Johnson. Johnson around to the left. McGrory down into the paint, stops, pops, air ball. Rebounded by Whitlinger. Here comes Hopkins and Duluth East into the front court, 4-2. Edina leads here at the 14:25 mark of the first half. Edina in a man-to-man defense so far in this game. Duluth East running the weave and the pick plays, trying to shake somebody open. Whitlinger has it. She is blocked at the baseline. Down low to Lucien. Up and in. 42. Lucien with a nice turnaround jumper off the glass and in to tie the score at 4. Bewan over to McGrory. Yes! McGrory can hit the 2. She can hit the 3. She hit 2 free throws and she rebounds. She puts the Hornets ahead 7-4.
And that one had nothing but cotton, Rich.
And she knew it too. As soon as she shot it, she turned around to get ready to play defense.
It's amazing when you have that feel, isn't it?
It is. Shot goes up by the Greyhounds by Rosseth. No good. Again, McGrory with the board. Down to Bewan. Her shot is deflected nicely by one of the Greyhounds. Rebound comes off to Lucien, and here come the Greyhounds. They trail 7-4 with 13:03 left in the first half. No substitutions yet in this game in the first 5 minutes. Starters have been in there all this time. Freeman over to Whitlinger, to Hopkins. Greyhounds doing a nice job of passing the ball around, but they can't find anybody inside the arc that's open for the shot. Lucien to Rosseth. A long shot here by Freeman for 3. And the senior guard, Alex Freeman, ties the score at 7. Freeman averages just under 16 points a game. And now there's a timeout called, I think, or the referee is...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought they called a timeout initially as well, but I'm not sure.
Substitutions, both teams for United.
Maybe he just called timeout just so we could get the substitutes in.
I think there was a little bit of moisture on the court down there.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Coming in now for Duluth East are Maya Anderson, number 14, and Emily Anderson, number 10. Now there's going to be a foul called. And let's see who this Greyhound is going to pick this one up. Number 42, Lucien, will pick up the personal.
Looks like she came up with the elbow.
It'll be on the floor, so Edina passes it in from underneath. Long shot goes up, but rebounded by Hopkins. Nice defense there by the Greyhounds. Hopkins all the way down. The right layup is good.
Hopkins.
Hopkins averaging almost 15 points a game this year. Scores the layup, and she is fouled. Bewin will pick up that personal.
And Hopkins made that nice little burst of speed right before she made that final drive to the hole, Rich.
Absolutely. Hopkins will try to make it a three-point play. East is ahead, 9-7. Hopkins up and good. Oh, no, my goodness. But the putback is good by Lucien. Great offensive board, and the best possible scenario for Duluth East happens.
Yeah, and they
made the original basket and the putback.
And they caught Edina napping there on the glass.
They really did. I think Edina thought the way I did, that ball was going in. It looked good. And now there's going to be a foul underneath on the rebound. It's going to be against Duluth East. Looks like it's going to be against maybe number 42. Oh, that's her second. The post player for East. Lucien picks up her second foul. 11-7. Duluth East is ahead. McGrory turns down the three. Throws up the runner in the lane. No good. Hopkins with the board. Boy, she has been very busy for the Greyhounds.
I haven't seen Bill Loons make any possible changes, substitution changes, so he's rolling with ice here a little bit.
Well, Coonsey does have two in there, number 10 and number 14. The two Andersons came in. No relation, by the way. Emily Anderson is number 10. She's an SEN. Maya Anderson is number 14. Shot by Hopkins! And Maya Hopkins has taken the game over for Duluth East, scoring 4 of the last 6 points and giving the Greyhounds a 6-point lead. 10:45 left in the first half. Edina down by 6. They're the number 2 seed. They're the number 2 ranked team in the state. Long shot from the corner by Good. Off rim, rebounded quickly by Duluth East. Here comes Maya Hopkins down again, and she misses the layup on the right side. But Lucien grabs the board. Shot up and good by Alex Freeman. And it's a 16-7 lead, and Coach Nilsson calls timeout. We'll take a timeout as well with 10:18 remaining in the first half. It's the Greyhounds of Duluth East 16, the Edina Hornets 7. Edina Hornets trailing here 16-7. They have the ball in the front court, moving left to right on your computer screen, and a nice feed in to Lindsey Johnson. And Johnson converts. She's averaging about 10 points per game, and she reduces the deficit to 7 points, 16-9.
Well, that was a big bucket there for the Hornets, who needed to get something going to kind of calm themselves down a little here, Rich.
Now they're going to call the double dribble against Emily Anderson and give the ball back to Edina. Boy, Coach Nilsson quickly called that timeout when Edina fell behind by 9.
Yeah, he had to. Had to get his team settled down.
Yep. And they do get the bucket and the ball back. McCrory goes up with kind of an ugly shot as she was stopped at the baseline. Her shot is no good, but the rebound to the Hornets.
Did it on 1 foot, too. Even more amazing.
Not many fouls yet in this game. 3 on Duluth East, only 1 on Edina. And just as we say that, Duluth East racks up their 4th foul.
Looks like Roseth is going to get tagged for that one.
And the one thing Duluth East does not want is another foul on their center.
Exactly.
Elena Lushin.
Yeah.
That last foul was on number 21, Roseth. That'll be her 2nd foul. So 2 of the Greyhounds now have 2 fouls. Down low to McCrory. Her shot will not go, but she is fouled by Hopkins. Foul on number 1, Shamika Hopkins.
Well, great pass to McGrory by Lindsey Johnson. Great recognition by Johnson, finding McGrory down low.
McGrory has no fear. She went right down the lane in amongst the tall trees.
Yeah.
She went up, even though she knew there was going to be contact.
Yeah.
She did not shy away.
Yeah, that's amazing how some smaller players, they're not afraid of contact at all.
And as we said before, she's only a junior. Her first shot, no good. Her second shot, that goes in. Front rim, back rim, and through. So it's a 16-10 game now. The Hornets have reduced the deficit to 6 points. 9:02 left in the first half. Rich Carlson, the voice man. Alex Vogel, the color man. Boy, Hopkins got away with a carry that time.
Yeah.
Here comes Whitlinger. She goes off on the side to Anderson for 3. Maya Anderson, averaging almost 7 points a game, hits the 3 ball from the right corner, and here comes Edina back with an air ball. Number 11, Engen. Quickly back come the Greyhounds. A shot up there by Freeman. Boy, Duluth East had a chance to put a lot of distance between them and Edina, but they lost the ball back to the Hornets, and now the Hornets will have the ball as a throw-in underneath. Coming back in the game is Lindsey Johnson.
Well, you can bet, Rich, that head coach Matt Nelson, even though his team is seated second here, does not want to find his team fighting out of a hole here early on.
And they are in a hole, 19-10, with only about 8 minutes left in the first half. They need to assert themselves.
Yep.
And a pass is intercepted by Freeman. The Greyhounds from East showing how good they are. And now Hopkins gets bumped off the play, no call. And there would be a jump ball right in front of the Edina bench. Boy, Hopkins got sent flying. No whistle on the play.
Well, you know, it looked like Hopkins had inadvertently bounced the ball off of her foot, and that's what created the mess down there.
And on the alternating possession, Edina will take the ball and move into the front court with Bwin. On the court, Anderson, Bwin, Rodriguez. Let's see who else is out there. Johnson is also on the court. Here comes Bwin down the lane and up and in. A couple of the Greyhounds were right there by Bwin, but they did not want to foul her.
Yep.
So Edina puts 2 points up on the board to narrow the gap to 7.
And
with 7:23 remaining here in the first half. It's Duluth East 19, Edina 12.
And Bwin was able to push Roseth out of the way on that last basket.
Yeah, Duluth East already has 5 team fouls here, and 2 of their players have 2. Lushin has 2, and Roseth has 2.
Yeah, that's probably why Roseth didn't want to do anything.
Exactly. Edina, so effective going to the basket, slashing and dashing in toward the hoop. And you either take the charge or you pick up the blocking foul. And the Greyhounds have all of a sudden become very conservative when it comes to trying to take the charge because they don't want to pick up any more fouls.
And you know, Rich, Edina being tested here early on, you sense from the get-go of this game that Duluth East really came out here with a lot of energy, a lot of intensity.
They also knew that they did not want to fall behind early. They want to take the early lead and make Edina play from behind.
Yeah, exactly.
And now down low, Roseth loses the ball as she tried to dribble drive into the paint. Johnson with the ball, turns and shoots, no good. Fight for the rebound, grab by Anderson. Oh, and a collision there. And it's going to be called on Freeman. Boy, it sure looked like Rodriguez was the last one into the fray there, as Freeman seemed to have control of the ball, but they're going to call it on Freeman. That'll be the 6th team foul on the Greyhounds, and it'll give Edina the throw-in under the basket. We're under 7 minutes, 6:55 and counting here in the first half. 19-12, Duluth East ahead.
Been kind of a good news, bad news proposition here for Duluth East in this first half so far, Rich, anyway.
Absolutely.
They got the lead, but they got some foul troubles.
Up
there's
goes
another
Bwin.
one. And that's going to be on Rossef.
It is on Rossef.
Came down with the arm, and that's going to be 3. Now, Kunzi's got to make a change, and he is right now. He's bringing Lachine back in.
Oh, that's dangerous. You bring in a girl with 2 fouls to replace one that has 3.
Yeah. It's like robbing Peter to pay Paul.
And those are 2 of the strong girls underneath for rebounds. So he doesn't want to have both of them off the court. Maya Anderson comes back in. She'll replace number 11, Engen. First shot is made by Bwin at 19-13. Second shot by Bwin, also good. As we said, she's averaging almost 18 points per game this season. She's the go-to player for the Hornets. Back in the front court goes Hopkins, and she is called for the travel. Some very tight defense by Anderson there caused that turnover.
Yeah, a little indecisive there.
Great to have these games brought to you by prep45.com, and glad to have you participating as a viewer. Bwin all the way in.
What a great move by Katie Beth Bwin.
She kind of did the stutter stall, and then she turned the jets on and went right to the basket. And again, Lusheen didn't dare go up for the block and pick up a 3rd foul. So Edina is benefiting from the Greyhounds' foul trouble. Greyhounds already have 7 fouls here with over 5 minutes left in the first half. Pass to Lusheen. They're passing it around well. Anderson with the long shot, no good. Rebound by Duluth East, and now there's going to be a tie-up. Whitlinger did have the rebound, but she couldn't find the handle on it. And on the alternating possession, Duluth East will throw the ball in under the basket. Anderson gets it into Whitlinger. Hopkins stops, pops, no good this time. Edina with the rebound. Johnson will claim the board on that one. 5:21 and counting. Bwin down the lane and in. She looked like she was going to dish it to somebody.
That's what I thought too.
And then she pulls the ball back and all in the same motion went up for the layup.
I know.
19-18. Can you believe it? It was 19-10. And in fact, Duluth East had a chance to make it 21-10. Shot goes up and in. Oh my goodness, Maya Anderson threw up an absolute prayer.
Yeah, I mean, she just threw the ball up.
She was directly under the net of the basket. She knew she was going to get fouled.
Yeah.
She just threw it up in the air.
And by divine intervention, it came back down and right through almost perfectly.
In fact, one of the referees was coming over to make the foul call, and then somebody had to tell him the ball went through. So it's 21-10, make it 20. Nope. Her free throw will not go. A nice rebound by Bwin. Boy, they could have gone up by 4 there if they had made that free throw, but it's a 3-point game for Duluth East.
Knocked out by Maya Anderson on that one, but the Hornets retain possession.
Maya Anderson, the sophomore forward, has been playing a lot of minutes with the absence of Rossef, who has 3 personal fouls in the first half. Boy, Duluth East is playing tight defense. They're trying to fit Edina like a glove. They're doing a good job so far here in the first half. Now the Cotton Candy Man gets in our way. Bwin into the paint, stops, pops. Again, no good. Rebounded, though, by the Hornets. Anderson back to Johnson, no good. Who's going to get this one? Lucien reaches high above all the other rebounders, pulls it down, gets it to Whitlinger. She is going to get fouled. Make that Freeman. Freeman was going into the lane and got fouled. Probably not a good foul because her back was to the basket.
Yeah.
Looked like she was just going to dish it off. But Edina had some fouls to give. That's only their third team foul.
Third team foul.
So it's just a throw-in under the basket.
Yeah.
It'll come way out top to Hopkins. She's directing the offense for the Greyhounds. She's played almost the entire game, and she has 6 points. Nice balanced scoring for the Greyhounds. And now Hopkins tries to split the defense, and she gets bailed out on a foul call. Either one of those defenders.
Well, Whitlinger got trapped down there, and she had to get rid of the ball and was trying to get it to Hopkins.
Now it's 4 team fouls on Edina.
Greyhounds got a little lucky on that one.
As we were saying, 6 points for Hopkins, 6 points for Freeman, 5 points for Anderson. So they have nice balanced scoring here. 4 points for Lucien. And a steal. Steal by Rodriguez. And they're going to say that the Greyhounds knocked that out of bounds. Now replacing Merrill will be number 33, Julia Good, coming back in the game. Merrill played some good, strong minutes there for the Hornets. 21-18, 3:30 left in the first half. The Hornets are trailing, but they just got fouled underneath. Again, McGrory, so strong to the basket. She went up for the left baseline shot. She is fouled. The 8th team foul, the first team foul, or the first personal foul on Whitlinger. McGrory's good on the first one. It's 21-19.
Well, Edina's been able to chip away at the charity stripe, Rich, thanks to the foul situation on the Greyhounds.
Absolutely. Next shot by McGrory is hard off the back rim, no good. Nice board down there by Anderson. Both Andersons in the game now for the Greyhounds. We've got 3:21 and counting in the first half. It's a 2-point game in favor of the Greyhounds. They have the ball in the front court. Greyhounds in their white uniforms with the red numbers, letters, and trim. The traditional green worn by the Hornets with the white numbers and letters and trim. And a knockaway by number 13. Up and in.
McGrory.
Make it 23, McGrory. McGrory with the steal, with the fast break, and the bounce around basket and in. And we're tied.
Well, good job by Edina. They were down early, and another turnover.
Here comes McGrory, and she'll have the ball knocked out of bounds on a nice defensive play by Emily Anderson. Duluth East getting a little bit ragged.
Little ragged, a little rattled.
Yeah, they are. Edina now playing that quick hand swipe defense.
Yep.
Shot by Bewan from the right side. No, who's got the board? It's McGrory. She's double teamed, but she gets the ball out to Johnson. Bewan from the right side, no good. 3 Greyhounds go for it, but one of the Hornets, that would be Rodriguez, gets in the middle of all 3 and causes the jump ball. It's going to be Hornets ball on the alternating possession. 2:27 left in the first half. We are tied. Edina has the ball. Here comes Bewan down the left side. No good. She was virtually uncontested and couldn't put up the left-handed layup. And back come the Greyhounds. Anderson with it out to Hopkins. Good crowd on hand for both Edina and from Duluth. Anderson's trade passes back and forth. Lucien comes out to the high post to help out. Duluth East having a little trouble getting down by the basket. And now Hopkins stops and shoots, and it's off. Nice rebound again by Good, Julia Good. With the board, McGrory goes down the paint, stops, shoots, it's offline. She gets her own rebound somehow underneath there. Shot from the corner by Good. Make it Johnson. Johnson found an opening on the rebound as Edina has been so effective on the offensive boards.
And the Hornets have their first lead of the afternoon, Rich.
It's 23-21 Edina. They were down 19-10 not too long ago. A long shot from the corner by Freeman. Saved out of bounds back into the Greyhounds. A nice job by Hopkins.
Oh, absolutely.
To save the possession. Down low to Lucine, and she is tied up. Boy, the ball goes down low, and there's 3 Hornets surrounding you.
Right now.
They're just buzzing down there, those Hornets are.
Yeah, they are.
I had to get that one in some point.
You don't want Hornets buzzing around you. They tend to be very mean.
Oh, Hornets can be nasty, even in the spring.
Yep.
Here we go, 51.5 seconds. Edina finally ahead. They're up by 2.
Ooh, Hopkins tried to force one in there.
Jordan Anderson is in there now for the Greyhounds. So there's 3 Andersons playing for them. Jordan, Emily, and Maya. The new one, Jordan, is a forward, and she's a senior. But Edina gets the rebound, and they have a chance to hold for the last shot if they want. 18, 17, 16 seconds and counting here in the first half. Pass down low to Johnson. Left-handed hook shot, no good. Rebounded by Anderson. Here come the Greyhounds. 3, 2, 1. Hopkins up and misses it at the buzzer. Hopkins had a chance to tie the game at the end of the first half. Her shot was up, bounced off the rim and off.
But, you know, Rich, a great start here by Duluth East in this first half. Unfortunately, coming down the stretch, they went ice cold from the perimeter, really couldn't hit anything down. Hopkins, for Duluth East, after a great start, looked on fire early on anyway. She hasn't done much, anything scoring-wise here lately. And Duluth East, which was up 19-10 at one point, now suddenly finds themselves down here, 23-21 at the half.
As soon as Duluth East got the lead 19-10, Coach Nilsson called a quick timeout, got his girls together, rallied them. They went on a 13-2 run, and they lead 23-21.
Yeah.
We're going to turn the mic over now to Mike Peden, who has a special guest here at halftime in the State Girls Tournament.
Mike Peden back with our big sister, so to speak, Leah Bielsen. I say big sister because she is part of the broadcast crew for KSTC Channel 45, so she's going to be at this building tomorrow through Saturday through the championship round. And Leah, if you don't mind, if there's any secrets or any plans that 45 has for this year's set of broadcasts. I know the Centennial celebration's been a big topic.
That really has been the focus this year, and what we have to remember that it's 100 years of state tournament basketball. So when people are comparing all the different players, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of arguments that it's not just every player in Minnesota, it's people who have made it to the state tournaments and played well in state tournaments. But it's kind of a fun conversation.
Girls basketball hasn't been around for 100 years in terms of state tournaments. They got going in the mid-'70s, and guess what have you seen, if you recall, maybe some of those early tournaments from Janet Carbonette up through the more recent tournaments with Angel Robinson and the Central team, or Taylor Hill breaking the record, and Rebecca Dahlman from Bram, who could break the record later tonight?
Well, what I've seen in girls basketball that's moving so quickly is just that each and every year it's getting so much better. And that's obviously because more and more girls are playing now, and because girls are starting so young in AAU basketball. So there's a lot of different reasons, but the improvement over the years is incredible. And so it's really fun. I think people now come to the girls tournament or any girls basketball game and go, wow, they're really good basketball players, where before it was only family and friends who were going to the games. So it's been fun to see more people here.
And a lot of folks reference Janet Carvinen as the player who really brought attention to the sport. I know she played a little bit before your time, though, but if you recall maybe some of her stories, what was it about her that turned it from a friends and family sport into a legitimate counterpart to the boys?
Well, I think for the first time there was a young girl who had an incredible shot, and everyone loves a scorer, and that's what Janet was. She had the most beautiful shot that, you know, to this day it's still beautiful, and she teaches it and coaches it to young girls all the time. So she was just kind of that perfect ambassador. She's a great person. She was a great player, but she really brought recognition to the girls' game when people were not talking about girls' basketball. And that's why I think her contribution to the sport was so important.
And I had one question to ask you now. Did you vouch for any of your Minneapolis South teams when you were competing as one of the best teams to play?
Well, let's see here. No, unfortunately, when I was at Minneapolis South, we never did make it to the big state tournament games, but that's why it was so fun for me to sit and watch the Hill years and watch South come in here and then finally get the big championship, because we hadn't actually done that, so it was really fun.
Now, folks who have been here already have probably seen you on the video board by now talking about some of the teams. People are talking about what the best teams are, and that debate could go on because of different parameters and different levels of competition, but what are some teams that you recall, either from your broadcasting or just following the tournament, that people should recognize?
Well, I think they got it right, the committee that selected. I think St. Paul Central girls was the best team ever. And just because if you look at every position, they had a solid player in every single position. They were probably the best up-tempo team that I've ever watched play, and they were just solid from 1 to 5. So I really do think that was the best team ever. It's a hard thing to figure out because different eras have different styles and different things, but I love Angel Robinson, her game, and all the great players that were on that St. Paul Central team.
I know we've talked about it a bit off broadcast, but what Central did, not just going undefeated and blowing opponents out by 44 points, but those 2 years of Minneapolis South playing here in the 4A final, I think produced perhaps the best rivalry in the state, as you had the lower bowl filled out with fans. You had the 6-1-2, 6-5-1 chant, and they just ate it up, and it felt like an NCAA tournament game.
I agree, and I think it was really good for the city. I think a lot of times when you have city teams in the state tournament, they don't bring a crowd to the tournament. In those years, you were seeing tons of city people come in and fill the Target Center. There was a real sense of pride for both of those teams. Every time they met up in Twin Cities during the regular season, everyone would go see those games. And I think ultimately, those South teams that were playing St. Paul Central, those are really, really good teams, but they just didn't have enough to get over and get the big championship on St. Paul Central.
And then they did pick one up in 2009 in a pretty dramatic fashion too.
Yeah, and that's what was so fun, is that's what made that victory so big, is because everyone was wondering, will Taylor Hill ever get her championship? And in that one, it was like she decided, I'm putting the team on my back and I'm getting this thing. And so I think that's what everyone was waiting to see.
Now, we know about Dahlman's quest for the record. Do you think she goes after that state tournament record of 47 points? Is that out of the question?
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't really thought about that yet. She certainly has the capability of it. I like how Rebecca Dahlman plays. She's an aggressive player. She'll attack the basket. She'll do everything she can now. She hasn't had the greatest tournament since I've been watching. She hasn't. So I'll be interested to see her in this tournament this year to see if she can really have a great tournament game.
Well, she's got to get to the quarterfinal round if you're going to see her tomorrow, of course. And your other job, the host of Wolves Weekly. Timberwolves are doing well. They're on the rebound, and they found ways to win even without Ricky Rubio. Maybe what does it mean for the girls to play on the home court of the Timberwolves and, of course, our defending champion Minnesota Lynx?
I think it's really fun for them to come out on this floor. There's a bit of adjustment to be made when they come out here, but this is the place where professional basketball played is in this state, and I think it means a lot for high schoolers to be able to step on the same floor as the Lynx and the Timberwolves. And I've seen every once in a while when the Timberwolves come off the road, they'll come in and practice, and then they'll run into the high school players, and it's so funny seeing the reactions of the high school kids meeting an NBA player. So it's pretty fun.
And what should we expect perhaps from the Channel 45 as they get ready to broadcast the semifinals and the championship round? Any insight?
Well, one, I like the crew that we have together. Dave, Lee, and I will be calling the games, and then we have Marissa Layton and Jenny Johnson who are going to be hosting it, and those two have great basketball minds. So there's going to be a lot of input and insight, but I just think like all state tournaments, that there's always going to be that one game where everyone goes, whoa, I didn't know that was going to happen, or that player was going to play great. And so I think that's what the excitement of the state tournament is what is going to be that big moment that everyone stops and goes, wow. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it definitely will.
Well, a lot of moments perhaps, especially in 2A and 3A, pretty crowded bracket there, a lot of great teams, and I think a lot of uncertainty. I
think so too. I mean, I tend to lean on, if you were a champion last year, you got to show me why you're not going to win it this year. So, I think that De La Salle is probably going to roll in here, but boy, it's a hard bracket this year, so it's anyone's game this year. All the fun begins tomorrow on KSTC Channel 45. Leah Bielsen, thanks for speaking with us. You can catch her, of course, on Wolves Weekly on FSN, and I think she'll be back here for some Lynx games this summer. Is that the plans? Hopefully we'll be back here for some Lynx, and but until then, we'll just do the high school games. It should be a great tournament on Channel 45. Well, thanks for giving us a preview of what's to come tomorrow through Saturday, and good luck, and always fun to talk with you. All right, Mike, thanks so much for your time. Leah Bielsen. Once more, we go back to Rich Carlson and Alex Nagel in the booth. You're watching the Minnesota State High School League Tournament quarterfinals.
Hey, Mr. Peden, a great interview down there. We appreciate that, and it's great to have such an influential official come on line with us during halftime. We've only got 1 minute left in the halftime intermission. Our score, Edina 23, Duluth East 21. Here are some point scoring totals. First of all, for the Greyhounds from Duluth, 6 points for Hopkins, 6 points for Freeman, 4 points for Lucien. And Rosyth, I think, also has 6 points, but she is not up on the board because she's on the bench with 3 fouls. Scoring for Edina, 10 points for Bwin, 9 points for McCrory, and 4 points for Johnson. So those 3 players have accumulated all the points for the Hornets in the first half.
Well, no surprise for Bwin, of course, Rich. Got off to a little bit of a slow start here early on, but once she came on with a vengeance. On the other side of the coin, you look at Duluth East, Shamika Hopkins with 6 points, but those points came early on, and she really hasn't done much since then, and she needs to find a way to get more actively involved in this game, certainly from a scoring standpoint anyway, for Duluth East to try and get their nose out in front here again.
In about the last 8 minutes of the first half, Duluth East could only manage 2 points.
They were ice cold from the perimeter, and that hurt them coming down the stretch, considering the fact they had that 19-10 lead.
Something else impressed me about the Hornets in the first half. They have so many weapons, Alex. I mean, all 5 of their starters can be leading scorers on any given game. So Duluth East really has their defensive challenge ahead of them.
Yeah, they really do. You talk about McCrory being one of them, of course.
And to start the second half on the alternating possession, the Hornets will throw it into the backcourt. It's Bwin, Rodriguez, McCrory, Good, and Johnson on the court, the original 5. Here goes Bwin, twisting, turning up, no good. A nice rebound by Rosyth. She's in the game with 3 fouls. Lucien's in the game with 2 fouls.
Rosyth might have forced Bwin to take a bad shot back there, Rich.
Rosyth, twist, turns, make it Lucien. Number 42 goes up with a nice mini hook off the glass, and that ties the score at 23. Bwin directing traffic out top, right on the Timberwolves logo out there. Calling out the play. Johnson cut off at the baseline. Stop and a shot for McCrory, no good. But another offensive rebound for the Hornets. Bwin will go up, but this time her shot is no good and rebounded by Lucien. Boy, the Hornets can really attack the boards.
Oh, they really can.
So Duluth East has a chance to regain the lead here. Ball knocked away by Bwin. This time it's picked up by Johnson. She will slow it down, turn, twist, shoot. This one's off. Lucien with another tall rebound under the basket.
Well, the Greyhounds dodged the bullet. Lucien lost the ball back there, lost track of the pass, but they dodged the bullet.
You know, I don't think Duluth East has played too many teams that have the quickness and the aggressiveness of this defense. Shot by Lucien is up and no good, but she will draw the foul and go to the charity stripe. Number 33, Good, will pick up the foul.
Well, Lucien making her presence known here early on in the second half, not only with rebounding, but a scoring punch as well, Rich.
Lucien hits the front of the rim short. First shot, no good. We're at the 16-20 mark of the second half, and we are tied at 23. These games have been low scoring so far as the defenses have really been smothering.
Yep.
Second shot is short. Johnson with the board. You know, Edina's not that tall.
No,
they really are
no.
a short team.
Yeah.
And that's why Lucien has had success on the boards. But Bwin goes underneath, has the ball bounce off her hands and out of bounds.
She had it, lost it off her chest.
That bounce pass to her was kind of on the short hop, and she wasn't ready for that. It clunked off her body and out of bounds. She was looking for one a little bit better, and it just was too fast. So once again, Duluth East has a chance to take the lead.
You know, you talk about Edina, you know, their tallest player, of course, is number 25, Lindsey Johnson at 6'1".
And Hopkins will drive in for the layup. Her shot is no good, but she'll get fouled by number 21, Rodriguez.
Edina has a lot of players in the 5'8", 5'7" range.
You have to wonder if they play a tall team, how they can compete. But
But
so far, they have been able to.
But they have a lot of speed and athleticism.
Well, Duluth East has missed their last 3 free throws. They could be ahead by 3 right now. As Hopkins misses her first. Second shot up. And this one's no good. Johnson again with the board. Edina is so good about boxing out on the boards that even with shorter players.
Well, yeah, especially, you know, with a smaller team, they have to be fundamentally sound on all aspects.
And they are. Nielsen, such a strong coach. Shot by Bwin, no good, but she is going to draw the foul. And if it's on Lucien, that will be her third. No, they're going to put it on Rosseth. And if so, that's her fourth.
Wow. Decision time again for Bill Coonsey.
Well, there is a substitute waiting at the scorer's table. The first shot goes up by Bwin. It's good. You don't want to put Bwin at the line too often.
No.
And now with 4 fouls, Rosseth will take a seat on the bench and be replaced by Maya Anderson. Maya Anderson, just a sophomore, but played some very strong minutes in that first half. 1-point lead for the Hornets, 2-point lead for the Hornets. They're up 25-23 with 15:35 showing on the second half clock. I tell you, Duluth East has really blown a lot of opportunities to have a nice solid lead here. With turnovers and 4 missed free throws just here in the first 3 minutes. A long shot up and over the basket by Freeman. That ball hard off the rim and over the backboard. And once again, Edina will have a throw-in as the Greyhounds only get 1 shot again on that possession.
Freeman a little hasty with that shot, I think, there, Rich.
Yeah, I think so. They could have waited for a shorter shot. There's no shot clock here in high school, so she could have waited for a better opportunity. I think one thing she was trying to do was draw the defense out on her and maybe open up the lane a little bit. But when your shot goes over the backboard, Edina does not take your shot very seriously. McGrory by the free throw line, into the paint, up. Shot is deflected nicely by Lucien. McGrory gets her own board and makes the putback. Boy, McGrory has had a strong game here for the Edina Hornets. Was that over and back?
I almost thought it was. Well, there's a charge.
But now, even worse than the over and back is that Freeman gets called for the leading elbow.
Yeah, leading the elbow,
And so the offensive foul will give the ball back once again to the Hornets. They have the ball and a 4-point lead with 14:20 remaining in regulation. The Greyhounds have been their own worst enemy here in the second half. Shot by McGrory, good. Boy, what a beautiful feed by Bwin as she drew the defense into her.
And Bill Coonsey wants a timeout to talk about it.
And a perfect time for a timeout as your team is down 6 with 14:09 remaining in the second half. It's Edina 29, Duluth East 23. Don't go away, fans. We're right back with more state tournament girls action.
Students who participate in high school activities. Hospitals is also proud to be the official championship ring supplier for the league and its member schools.
Great questions. That was
a good interview with Leah.
Yeah. It's Edina 29, Duluth East 23. 14:09 left in the second half. The Greyhounds have had opportunity after opportunity here in the second half that they have squandered.
Yeah.
And now they have another chance to get back into it here as they get possession in the back court.
They're really in the danger zone here, Rich, as far as I'm concerned. Down 6 here at the 14-minute mark. They've got to find a way to get something going offensively.
Edina can rack up a quick lead so fast that you don't realize all of a sudden you're behind by 10 or 15 points. And a nice running hook shot, layup by Freeman. Reduces the deficit to 4 points for the Greyhounds.
And that's one way to get back into it, that's for sure, to stem the tide anyway.
Oh. A nice pass down low to McGrory, and she is fouled.
That was a beautiful give-and-go pass. I mean, you have to be really precise with your passing in the lane on something like that.
McGrory's so quick on the first step that Whitlinger just could not catch up with her. She had only one choice, and that was to foul. 2 shots for McGrory. And boy, Edina knows how to shoot free throws.
Yeah, they sure do.
30-25 Hornets, 13:27 remaining. McGrory eyes the basket, bends it to knee, but this shot goes off to the left, and it'll go out of bounds off of Edina. A break there for the Hornets, or for the Greyhounds, as Edina almost looked like they were going to grab the offensive board once again. And Edina only gets 1 point off of that shooting foul. So with 13:25 left, the Greyhounds can cut it to a 3 or 2 point lead with some scoring here on this possession. Freeman down the right side, cut off at the baseline. Back out to Anderson, who's playing extended minutes in Roth's place, as Rothseth has 4 fouls. Freeman, the long three, as she throws up a 3 ball from outside the arc on the right side, and she does indeed cut the lead to 2 points, 30-28. Freeman has gone on another scoring streak, as she did in the first half, and this ball's knocked out of bounds by Freeman. She's able to knock it off of Bwin's hands, out of bounds to the Greyhounds. Nice defense, nice offense by Alex Freeman.
Well, Duluth East has shown a lot of resiliency here, being on the big stage and finding themselves down. They've gotten themselves right back into it, Rich.
And you know, you and Mike made a great point in the previous game when you talked about the size of this court. The professional basketball size of a court is 94 feet long. In high school, the typical size is 84 feet long. And over the course of a long game, that can really take a toll.
It's a subtle difference, but a difference nonetheless.
Especially for a team that is struggling to come back in the game, and they have to hustle all the more. And now a pass goes off the hands of Whitlinger. Another turnover for the Greyhounds, as they had a golden opportunity there to tie or even go ahead.
That was an opportunity lost there.
A throw in now for Edina in the backcourt.
Kind of seems to be the overriding theme here overall for this Duluth East
12
Greyhound
minutes,
squad.
5 seconds remaining in regulation. Edina holding on to a 2-point lead over the Greyhounds of Duluth East. A stop and a pop for good, no good. Hopkins with the board, the fast break, layup, one hand, no good. Put back, no good. A nice try by Lucien on the off-balance putback. Shot was a little bit weak.
Falling backward while she did it, too.
Shot by Johnson, no good. And Lucien goes up over everybody. Pulls down another strong board for the Greyhounds. Long shot by Freeman! The Greyhounds have regained the lead, 31-30. You know, I was just going to say, why don't the Greyhounds settle down, get their offense intact, don't try these crazy shots, and then Freeman makes the three.
Seems like the improbable shots are the ones that are working for the Greyhounds so far, Rich, in this one. The conventional isn't.
But you can't keep playing like that.
I know, exactly,
You know,
exactly.
They have benefited from some off-balance shots going in, but you can't base your offense on that. You got to play solid fundamentals when it comes to the state tournament. And now Bwin goes down the lane for a layup. It does not go, but she is fouled. And once again, Edina goes to the free throw line. 4 team fouls already on the Greyhounds here in half number 2. Bwin makes the first. We are tied once again, 31-30. Duluth East has done very well to hang in this game, but they dare not fall behind late in the game as Edina is so strong at the end. I know the team that I announced for Prior Lake, they got to within 4 or 6 points late in the game, and then Edina just went on an 8-point run. So you can't get behind these Hornets as the clock winds down. The second shot is also good, so Edina goes back up by 1, 32-31. Lucien with a nice pass and the bucket. A beautiful inlet pass coming in there from Whitlinger. Lucien with the smooth right-handed hook shot, and Duluth East is up by 1, 33-32. Duluth East now has to show some strong defense here, build on this lead if they hope to beat Edina. But McGrory breaks down the defense.
And she did it over somebody taller than her too, Rich.
There were 2 players taller than her, and she went up fearlessly, put the ball off the glass and in, and Edina is up by 1. Freeman again tries that long three. This time it will not go, but luckily for Duluth East, they get the board and the basket. Hopkins.
Those are Hopkins' first points since early on the contest, Rich.
Exactly
and
right.
She needed to get involved.
She is the leading scorer of the team, or the second leading scorer, rather. She needs to be involved. McGrory working on Hopkins. She can go nowhere, so she dishes to Johnson. Duluth East 35, Edina 34 with 9 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in regulation. A nice pass down low, but it's blocked.
I think Rosseth did that.
Rosseth with a dangerous block against Rodriguez, but she was clean, she was effective, and no foul. So Duluth East has the ball and the lead here with 9 minutes, 29 seconds remaining. Lucien.
Boy,
oh my.
Has she really come on in the second half, Rich, or what?
A great assist by Whitlinger. She found Lucien open on the right side, and another one of those smooth right-handed hook shots is good.
Oh, what a move. Oh.
Bwin goes in, and the ball goes out of bounds. Let's see who it's, nobody can figure out who it went off of.
I thought it was off of Duluth East, but I'm not sure.
Well, Duluth East had the ball, and then there was a scrum, and we can't tell who knocked it out of bounds.
They're talking about it right now. Okay.
I thought that Lucien had the ball, and sure enough, it got knocked out of her hands. Let's see what's happening here. Is there a timeout?
Yes. Well,
Duluth. There's going to be a 30-second timeout requested by Duluth East. So with 9:06 remaining in the second half, the Greyhounds lead the Hornets 37-34.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rich. This game so far has had a lot of interesting ebb and flow to it. You know, it looked for a while, or of course early on, that Duluth East had the edge. They were up 19-10, and right back come the Hornets. They get their nose out in front, and now here in the early stages of the second half, we're almost at the midway point. Duluth East, with a lot of resiliency, has fought their way back, and now they have a slim 37-34 lead. But I think the encouraging thing for them is that they're not relying on Shamika Hopkins to do it. They're getting a lot of help from Lucine down low. She's scoring and getting rebounds, and that's such a huge key for this Duluth
Here
East
come the
Greyhound
Greyhounds
team.
back into the front court. We're under 9 minutes now. Whitlinger goes over to Hopkins, over to Freeman, around the outside now, passing around the perimeter, looking for Lucine. She's double teamed down low. Zone defense now for the Hornets. A three-pointer is no good, but rebounded quickly by number 10, Anderson. Anderson in the game now. Pass down low. Shot is blocked, but Rosyth gets her own board. Back out to Hopkins. Here comes Whitlinger for two. Yes! Jamie Whitlinger, the senior forward, knocks down a key two-pointer with 8 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the first half. And Duluth East with a 5-point lead. McGrory underneath will shoot and get fouled. McGrory goes under there fearlessly from the left side to the right side, makes the reverse layup and gets fouled. Let's see who that foul is going to be on. Foul might have been on Whitlinger. The three-point play no good. And now the horn goes off.
That was kind of inadvertent. I think now it.
The shot was good, so it's 39-36. Duluth East. The one-shot foul was not made, and Duluth East got the rebound.
We have a team foul on the Greyhounds.
Well, what happened on that play was that when McGrory went up to shoot the final free throw, it was the fifth foul on Rosyth.
Okay, all right.
So they had to make sure and get Rosyth out of the game. So the horn did go off to make sure that Rosyth was off the court and got replaced. And coming into the game is Anderson.
Well, those fouls finally caught up with Duluth East as Rosyth is finally fouled out now.
And now the sophomore guard will have to really play hard. And strong defense by the Hornets forces another turnover. They have been so tough on the defense here.
And Whitlinger got stung on that one.
She sure did. So with a 3-point deficit, the Edina Hornets with 7:54 left in the second half, trying to whittle that down even farther. Pass down low to Bwin. She gets the ball stolen. And then Duluth East gets the ball stolen. And guess who's got it? McGrory.
Yep.
She's off to Bwin into the paint. Stop. Pass off to Good. McGrory out front, calling signals like she were a quarterback. She comes into the paint. Double team now, looking for an outlet. Bwin has it, and a block shot by Lucine. However, Bwin gets her own board. She's back outside the arc. She's calling the play now. Boy, what a great back and forth game we've got here, Alex.
Yeah, we sure do, Rich.
Bwin goes up over two opponents. No good. Lucine. Another board for the senior center. Make it the junior center for Duluth East. She's back next year for the Greyhounds.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have a foul, an offensive foul. That foul on number 10. 10-second call, I guess, in the backcourt. There's no foul. Timeout on the court. Our score, Duluth East 39, Edina 36. 6:51 remaining in the second half. One thing I've been impressed in the second half is both teams are playing to their own strength. Edina playing to their quickness, their aggressiveness, drawing fouls. They've done that well. Duluth East playing to their size, playing to their outside shooting. Lucene getting nice looks underneath and rebounds. And Freeman hitting from the outside. Both teams playing their kind of ball. And look at our score. Three-point game.
Three-point game. And, I think Edina has done a good job. Once Duluth East got the edge and they got some momentum going, Edina could have hit the panic button, but they didn't. They stayed. They stayed within their game, doing what they do. They're only down 3 points with a mountain of time left. So it'll be interesting to see what they do here coming down the stretch.
One thing that the Greyhounds are going to have to contend with, they're going to have to play the rest of the game without their senior forward, Nikki Rosseth, as she went out with 5 personal fouls. So they're going to have to play with substitutes from here on in. And right now they're using the sophomore, Maya Anderson. And she's been playing some very good minutes for the Greyhounds. Here comes Edina back in the front court. McGrory at the free throw line. Drives right, shoots left. No good, but she gets her own board. It's off to Rodriguez, no good. And on the rebound, there's a tie-up on the floor. Boy, a great rebound there, McGrory on her own shot. Shot the outlet pass over to Rodriguez, and her shot was no good, but the ball was tied up on the rebound. And on the alternating possession, the ball goes back to Duluth East. They're going to have to start taking advantage of all of these possessions that they've been awarded, because they definitely have had their chances.
Oh, they sure have.
We're down to 6:15 left in regulation. A very low-scoring game. Of course, you remember the score of the last game between these two teams, 45-25. Another long one by... Another long shot by Freeman is a little short, and a quick rebound by the Hornets. Here comes McGrory down the left baseline, up and in. There's a collision underneath, no call.
She doesn't mind the contact, though, as she's so demonstrated so well, Rich.
And if the referees aren't going to call some of this contact, it's going to be to Edina's benefit, because they're so aggressive. Hopkins for 3. Bam. The 3-ball from the right pocket. And it's a 4-point lead for the Greyhounds. McGrory is stopped at the free throw line outside the arc. Ball comes into Rodriguez. 14 points for Bwin. 20 points for McGrory. Those are the leading scorers for the Hornets, as they have been all season long. Down low to Bwin. A beautiful in-the pass from McGrory. McGrory's so dangerous, they have to take her seriously.
Just so fundamentally sound.
When they double team her, somebody's open, and this time it was Bwin. It's a 2-point lead for the Greyhounds.
Those are her first 2 points in a long time.
Yes, exactly. Now Duluth East is taking their time. They're not going to take any foolish shots here, as we're at the 4:35 mark in the second half. Here comes Anderson, the substitute for Rosseth. Hopkins all the way down to the right side. Her shot will not go, but a strong rebound in there by Whitlinger. Lucene. Again, Whitlinger with a wonderful assist down to Lucene. She is fouled, and let's see if it's going to be an out of bounds or a shooting foul. It's just going to be on the floor, so the Greyhounds will retain possession, throw the ball in under the basket. The throw-in will come from Whitlinger to Hopkins, shooting and scoring.
Well, she's found her groove again.
She definitely has. She already has 7 points here in the second half alone. Up goes Johnson with the answer.
25, Lindsey Johnson.
Well,
and
now,
all of a sudden, the lead is back to 2 points for the Greyhounds. And right after that basket by Johnson, head coach Nielsen calls timeout for the Hornets. What a game we got going here.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rich, Duluth East is really doing a good job here. You know, they came into this game arguably the underdog here, and they were doing a very good job of putting Edina under a lot of pressure, making them play, making them work for it.
I've been impressed that you mentioned about Edina not crumbling under the pressure. Duluth East is not crumbling. They're coming down with players like Freeman, Whitlinger, and Hopkins. Those girls are not afraid to take the shot.
No.
They're more than anxious to say, give me the ball, I want to shoot. And boy, those last 3 baskets by the Greyhounds were just, as Paul Allen would say, cold-blooded shots that went in.
Yeah, and I would, you look at Shamika Hopkins, she got off to that great start in the first half, then kind of disappeared for a while. Then here in the second half, boom, she reappears again, and she's got a hot hand. And look at Lusheen. I mean, all the rebounding, and she's really opened up scoring-wise. That's why Duluth East is hanging on to that slim 2-point lead here.
The 4 starters for Duluth East besides Lusheen are all seniors, so she is the one starter that is coming back next year. So if Duluth East is going to make a run, it should be this year, and they are up by 2. We're under 4 minutes now, and Duluth East has the ball and playing a little more deliberate as Edina is picking and pecking away.
Ooh.
And Bwin almost gets the steal, but the ball rolls out of bounds, and boy, have they picked up their tempo on defense.
I thought and McGrory gets a steal.
McGrory, the steal, the dribble, the shot, and we are tied. McGrory, MC McGrory, all over the court for the Hornets. What a game we got going here, Alex.
Oh,
we're so excited to be bringing it to you. This is high school girls basketball at its most exciting. And now to save a 5-second violation, head coach Bill Kunze has to call a timeout. And now Duluth East is left with one more timeout remaining. Duluth East just could not find the open player. And to make sure they didn't lose the possession, Coach Kunze calls the timeout. And we are tied with 3:22 left.
Well, I'll tell you, Rich, we've had the changes and ebb and flow in this game, have we not?
And give a credit to the coaches and players from both teams. They did not back down. They did not crumble under the pressure. It has been steady, strong basketball. As we said before, each team playing to their strength.
Exactly, and each time somebody's made a move to gain some momentum, the other side has not crumbled or hit the panic button, and I think that's one thing that you really have to like about this particular contest.
First of all, Duluth East came in with a 22-5 record. They had a very good season up north. And of course, Edina came into today's game with a 25-4 record. So their records are similar. As we said earlier, the one game earlier this season between the two teams was won by Edina in a 45-35 final score. And I'm sure Duluth East would like to settle that score. The ball is passed into Hopkins. Boy, a sticky man-to-man defense once again by the Hornets. Ball comes into Whitlinger, down low to Lusheen. She's double-teamed in the paint.
And a travel.
And when she gets double-teamed, she couldn't score. She couldn't find anybody else open. And she gets called for the travel. So the turnover will give the ball back to the Hornets. We are tied with 3:08 left in the second half.
And there's some mean Hornets out there right now, I'll tell you what, Rich.
Here comes McGrory with the ball into the front court. Dribbling back and forth, watched very closely by Whitlinger. And I think Duluth East might be in a 2-3 zone right here.
Looks like it. Yeah, they definitely are.
They're not afraid of the three-pointer. They're more afraid of the shots inside the paint area. Here comes McGrory into the paint, up and in. The one thing that you change to a zone defense for is to eliminate that possibility. And McGrory broke down the defense nicely. Found the basket from the left side, and that puts the Hornets ahead by 2. And now a silly foul by McGrory about 50 feet from the basket will give the give the Greyhounds the ball, although Edina had lots of fouls to give. That's only their 4th team foul. They don't appear to have anybody in foul trouble. The most fouls is 2 fouls on McGrory and on Rodriguez. Lots of fighting down in the paint there between Johnson and Lusheen.
Yep.
Lusheen has it against Johnson. Lusheen has about 6 inches on her on height, but Johnson hanging in there. Freeman about to get the 5-second call, but she gets the ball off to Anderson rather. Whitlinger's pass deflects to Hopkins. Down low. Long shot by Whitlinger is short. That looked like a desperation shot that you didn't need to take. Only down by 2.
Yeah, that looked to be a slightly hasty shot. She wasn't balanced very well.
She was wide open, I'll give her that, but her feet were not planted like you said.
Yep.
She was not ready to take that shot, and now Edina, with a 2-point lead and the ball, has time on their hands as the clock runs down to 1:18 remaining in regulation. Duluth East trying to pull out one last miracle here to at least tie the score, and there's the miracle.
That ball's going to go on McGrory.
Whitlinger with a beautiful interception, and McGrory could have been called for the intentional foul, as all she did was grab Whitlinger's arm. They will not call the intentional foul. It was not a shooting foul, and it's only the 5th team foul on the Hornets. So the Greyhounds throw it in. Our clock is winding down, 106, 105, 104. We're down to 1 minute, fans, left in regulation. Hornets trying to hold on to the 2-point lead. The Greyhounds desperately trying to get the tying shot. It's shot up by Hopkins and in. Front rim, backboard, and through. We are tied at 46 and 40 seconds left in regulation. What a game we got going here. McGrory gets triple teamed. It looks like Edina's going to try to hold for the last shot. And now Freeman goes in and gives Bwin an uppercut.
Yeah,
she's looking at her nose to see if she got a little nosebleed there.
Got hit on the cheek, it looked like.
I think, to be fair to Freeman, Bwin had her kind of faked out, and when she reached in for the ball came down, and all that was left was Bwin's nose. But
Bwin got the worst of it anyway.
But Duluth East also had a foul to give. That's only their 6th team foul. But that was on Freeman, and that's her 4th personal foul. So if we happen to go overtime here, those 4 personal fouls are going to be important to the Greyhounds.
Absolutely.
It's Rich Carlson, the voice man, Alex Nagel, the color man, bringing you this exciting quarterfinal game in the Minnesota State Girls High School Tournament.
Well, we've been treated to a good one here in this 3rd game this afternoon.
And as we mentioned earlier, the loser now will go home. There is no consolation round in the state basketball tournaments. There are 32 teams in the tournament, so the loser will go home. Nobody in this game wants to go home early. We are tied. We're under 25 seconds now. 21, 20, 19. And then there's a foul by Hopkins as she inadvertently trips McGrory.
Oh, boy.
And if you're going to foul anybody, it's probably not McGrory. Hopkins will pick up her 2nd foul, but more importantly, that's the 7th team foul on the Greyhounds, and that'll mean a 1-1 situation. Maybe that's not a bad foul. You force Edina to shoot now, then you get the ball back.
Yeah, exactly. There's still 18.2 seconds left.
Even if she makes both free throws, you've got the game in your hands.
Exactly.
Maybe not a bad foul. At least it wasn't Freeman committing the foul and fouling out. McGrory makes both of them. So it is a 2-point lead here for the Hornets, 17, 16, 15. And quickly, Bill Coonsey calls timeout.
Hasn't been reflected on the scoreboard. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Full timeout for the Greyhounds.
It's 15.6 seconds showing on the second half scoreboard here with those 2 free throws by McGrory. By the way, she now has 26 points.
Wow.
Count them.
Wow.
26 points. Duluth East is trailing by 2. They do have the ball out of the timeout.
Okay, so now let's look at the Duluth East side of the coin here. You've got 15.6 seconds left, a lot of time obviously your first priority, in my mind, if you can do it, I would think it would be to try to get the ball down low to Lucien. If you can get that, give her a good shot, maybe can get, at the very least, you can get her to the free throw line. I would think if you can't, if you're winding down on time, then you're going to have to look out on the perimeter, and they may not have the luxury of getting the ball to Hopkins or someone else. They may have to pick whoever's open.
The problem is when you look at the average points per game on the rest of the Duluth East squad, you don't have a lot of scoring potential there.
Yeah.
You're looking at either Freeman, who averages 16 points a game, or you're looking at Lucien or at Hopkins. I think you look down low to Lucien, and if she's double and triple team, somebody's got to be open.
Yeah.
So you've got to be prepared to pass. Here we go, 10 seconds. Hopkins down to Lucien. She's up, no good, rebounded by the Hornets. And a quick foul. Lucien did get the ball underneath. The problem was she was about 8 to 9 feet from the basket.
Well, and she wasn't very well balanced either.
Yeah.
She put up kind of a hard shot and didn't go.
I think she maybe was just a little bit outside her range.
Yeah.
But she did take the shot. You want her to take that shot.
Yeah.
The ball did go off rim. The 8th team foul now on Duluth East, and that's the first one on Maya Anderson. Shooting will be Julia Good. We haven't called her name too much today. The 1-and-1 first shot is good. The all-important first shot on the 1-and-1 bonus. Julia makes good.
Now a chance to make it a 2-possession game.
Exactly. Again, the scoreboard a little slow to record that 49th point. Julia makes good on both of them. It's a 50-46 lead. 3.5 seconds. A long shot by Freeman, no good, and that'll do it. The Edina Hornets have held on for a 50-46 win over a very scrappy and talented Duluth East team. Congratulations to the Hornets. 26 points recorded by McGrory, 16 put up there by Bwin as they were the dominant players. They combined for 42 of the 50 points for Edina.
And you're right, Rich. Hanging on is about the right phrase to use for the Edina Hornets today. Hanging on, finding ways to win. And they were able to do that primarily through McGrory. The things you'd remember, that drive along the baseline earlier.
Exactly.
Those are the things that you look for in a senior like that leadership and that experience, and it paid off for them today.
One of the reasons the Greyhounds hung in so long is their balanced scoring.
Yeah.
10 points put up by Lucien, 14 put up by Freeman, and 15 points put up by Shamika Hopkins.
Yeah.
That helped to keep them in the game. What hurt them was the fouling out by Rosath. That really put them behind the 8 ball because her replacement only got 2 points, or 5 points rather.
Yeah.
And Duluth East just could not come back at the end as they had a chance with the game tied and a minute left. They chose to foul. McGrory made both free throws, and then Duluth East was never able to recover. But thank you for dialing us up here on Prep45.com. Rich Carlson, the voice man, Alex Nagel, the color man. Excited to bring you high school tournament basketball here in the state of Minnesota. Finally, from Target Center in the quarterfinal game this afternoon, it's the Edina Hornets 50, Duluth East 46. Edina will now move on to play the winner of our next game, which will be against White Bear Lake and Osseo. And White Bear Lake ranked 7th in the state coming into the state tournament. They are definitely the favorite. However, as we've seen here today, you can never count any one of the teams out.
No, you sure can't.
And Edina will have to watch very closely to see which team they'll be playing tomorrow in the semifinals. So for Alex Nagel, Rich Carlson, here at the Target Center saying thanks for joining us. We'll be back in a few minutes with the Osseo White Bear Lake high school basketball game.